Hello, everyone. Welcome to another talk about your health blueprint. I'm Nicola.
And I'm Dirk.
And we're here to talk about Nourish today, which is the last pillar or foundation of health in the blueprint model that you have built over the past however many years.
It is the last foundational piece, but it's not the last module.
Oh, secret. So going over Nourish, it coincides really closely with the other module, Condition, which we talked about in a previous video. If you aren't familiar with it, I highly suggest going to go watch that before you dive into this one. So Nourish, when I first was introduced to this way of thinking, my thought of Nourish was like, about the body specifically. How do I feed it? How do I take care of it? Sleep, all of those things. But now I know that it's a lot more than that, according to your definition of Nourish through the blueprint lens. Can you give that to us today? What is that?
So Nourish is to provide the deeper elements, the deeper self, the elements of health, connection, and growth.
Awesome.
So that goes beyond the physical. It includes the physical, but it goes beyond the physical. It's the body, mind, and spirit, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Providing for all of them.
Okay. So what does that look like to you? What does that look like to you?
So, have you ever walked away from a connection with somebody? Maybe you had a short interaction with somebody, maybe that you didn't know, and you just walked away feeling elevated?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a nourishment, right?
Ah.
You had a connection with that person in some way, at some level, that was like, I felt like I was seen, I was connected with, I was heard, I was listened to at a level outside of the ordinary, like passing by transactional type thing. So that would be one example of nourishment, or getting nourished. That's not food and water and whatnot. Yeah.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing too now is that nourishment isn't something that is fully embodied alone. Is it something that can be more fully embodied with others?
Well, no, we can nourish ourselves
Okay.
on our own for sure. Take a walk barefoot in nature, where you have set aside time and all the stresses and all the things that are on our minds or on your mind, and just go give yourself a nice, peaceful walk in the woods, or meditation, right? That would also be a great way to nourish oneself, to just let go of all the stress and all the thinking and all of the to-dos, and even just for 5 minutes, right? Just focusing on breathing. So no, it's not about whether we're with other people or not. It's, are we nourishing, are we providing ourselves some elements of growth, connection, and healing. Gotcha. And so those elements can be stress reduction, right? Letting go of the stress, letting go of fear. Stepping out of fear would be a nourishing thing. Letting go of thoughts of the future, which are leading to anxiety or causing me anxiety, would be a nourishing thing to do. And so, no, there's many ways, many ways to nourish the body, to nourish ourselves. And it's not just the body we're nourishing, obviously, in communication. Although what's fascinating about this really is that there's many aspects, right? So you can nourish through sound. Think about vibration, or the sound of nature, just going outside in our backyard and hearing the birds and
Humming to yourself,
right? Or sound vibration. People do sound healing with crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls and different things. And then there's touch, right? The nourishment of touch, whether that's massage or putting lotion on my own arm, right? Or leg or whatever, right? So touch, a hug, etc. So touch is also right in there, right? There's a lot of different ways that we nourish, but even with that, the sound And sight can be nourishing too, right? You look on a peaceful scene with your eyes. It's like, people walk into this room and they see this, and there's just something that
gorgeous,
happens.
By the way.
Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah. So nourishment, from what I'm hearing after that, is engaging a lot of your senses, it seems like, in a gentle, calming way.
It can be that.
It can be that.
There's
so many different things.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's all based on our internal blueprint, which we talk about in the first video that we've done, and we kind of explain that a little bit. How, without going into it too much, because I would recommend going to the seminar, which is happening on April 29th, to really get the full picture of all of this. But how can we get in touch with what nourishes us in our blueprint? How would you recommend anyone to kind of start, the starting point, without giving away the whole thing?
Well, the starting point is first to notice ourselves. Just start noticing.
I'm noticing a pattern.
Noticing. It all starts with me. For me, it starts with me and my blueprint. Right? So if I walk by the kitchen and I grab something to eat, am I aware that I'm grabbing something to eat? Am I aware of what my hunger level is? Is it really hunger for food, or am I just distracting myself? Or am I just seeing food and instinctively grabbing it? And then if I do grab the food anyway and I taste it, what does it taste like, right? What noticing. So I was actually thinking about this last night, that because a similar question came up for me, but people say, well, I trust my, I just trust how I feel. And my response was, well, that's great if how you feel is the deeper level of how you feel. So if how you feel is in balance, then it's trustworthy. But if it's not in balance, I wouldn't trust it.
Ooh.
Right? So to somebody who has an addiction, let's say it's an alcohol addiction, right? Oh, yeah, I just feel like I need a drink. Well, that wouldn't be a very trustworthy feeling from a deeper health and well-being standpoint.
Right.
But somebody who doesn't have an alcohol addiction, who probably doesn't drink alcohol very often, if they have this feeling just kind of out of that, wow, I need a glass of wine, or I'd like a beer, well, that may be a very important intuitive hit for them. And that glass of wine or that beer or whatever may be just a thing that helps them get to a mental state or an emotional state or some internal state that helps them get an insight that they wouldn't have had if they didn't have that input.
Okay.
But most of us, I think, because we do not live in a healthy population, for the most part, we're not running based on a deeper internal. We're running based on that surface. Oh, I don't feel like showing up for something today, so I'm not going to show up. Well, even if it was important, you're trusting a feeling that's like, whatever. That, you know what I mean? I know that's a little vague, but it's hard to describe exactly.
Well, you mentioned something about addiction, and I think that's the key word that I heard here. And I know that a lot of information is coming out now, especially as people are kind of waking up and becoming aware. There's stuff with our food and our water and what we're consuming on our entertainment, on our screens, that is also a form of nourishment, and that's, keeping us quite sick. And
that's not nourishment, though.
No, that's what I'm.
Addiction, yes.
That is, and that's addiction. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say,
Right.
is that addiction doesn't have to just be an alcohol, something that is like a vice. It can be what's just around us too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So the content So take a smartphone. The content that one is getting off of that phone could be nourishment.
Could be.
Or it could be anti-nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like guns, it's like everything else. It's not the thing itself, it's how is it being used. Mm-hmm. Right? So, yeah, if I'm using it to consume stuff that's just keeping me very low and just keeping me in cycles and not helping me show up, grow up, and wake up, then that's not nourishment the way I look at it. If it's just feeding my anxiety and my depression and just giving more reasons to be, and I'm not learning from it, learning about myself, learning about the world around me in meaningful ways, then it's a nasty spiral of just stealing my life away from me and externalizing my attention.
Right.
And that is one of the biggest things that's going on, is really all of this is a battle for our attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the more advertisers or people, whatever, get our attention, the more they can sell us. And the more they can sell us, the more money they can make. And since most people are worshiping money, that's the biggest thing that they're out doing. Right? They're out there doing stuff just for the sake of making money. And again, money is not good or bad.
It's how you use it.
It's how you and how you go about earning it.
Relating to it too. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You know, am I doing things to manipulate people strictly so I get the money, and I found that this is a good way to manipulate people to get money, or am I doing it because this is something of value to people's deeper self or their higher self, etc.? I think that, to me, that's really important. To other people, maybe not. But we have instinctual drives. We have instinctual drives towards sugar and salt and fat. And we have these tastes, and on some level, producers of junk food, they're just providing people what their desire is. Oh gosh, I really want that salty potato chip. Oh, I really want this, that. I really want that. Oh, I really love this beer. I really love this alcohol. I love this, whatever it is. I mean, all this junk. And so we have a population that's overweight tremendously, that's outrageously out of shape, and on it goes, because they're satisfying those surface desires. Those are not the desires to trust.
Right.
But we got to change our blueprint in order to go, oh, wait, I need to internalize that. And this is circling around back to the beginning. I can't internalize it until I'm willing to feel what is going on inside of me truly. So part of nourishing is space, is not nourishing, or deconditioning ourselves, our programs to reflexively eat junk, or if it's a birthday party, I have to eat cake because it's a birthday party, or if I go out with friends, I have to have a drink because I'm out with friends, right? So deconditioning the surface level activity to find out what's really going on inside here. And I'm not judging having a beer and whatever with friends. That's not what I'm doing. But if that's what's happening all the time, and my health is poor, it's not optimal, it's not where I want it to be, and I keep grumbling about my health, that's a problem. Right?
It's a very subtle shift in focus. And it's like, like you said, I think for myself, you talked about, consuming that's going to keep people anxious or heightened. Like for me, I think before I went down a path like this, a lot of it was numbing, keeping things very low. And so when someone like myself is used to numbing all the time, feeling is quite difficult. And that's, if you're joining us now in the Nourish conversation, I really highly recommend you going to the beginning and then watching Blueprint, Structure, Condition, and Nourish, because you can kind of see now how this is starting to loop in within itself and be self-sustaining. And so we talked a lot about, consuming and things that make us sick. And it's really awesome, I think, that it is becoming a lot more common knowledge these days. People are becoming a little bit more aware of it now. And it can be a little overwhelming for people as they start to embark. So how have you, perhaps, when you were first starting down this path, how did you kind of keep a level head while also, I don't know, opening up and integrating all of this into your life? Or maybe you have something to say for people who are just now starting to recognize this. Do you have any thoughts?
So in some ways I cheated because this has been my life path, right?
Oops.
To get to where I am, and it's, if somebody looked at my life from the outside, they would say, well, that's not perfect, and that's not perfect, and that's not perfect, and that's not perfect. He's not doing this, that, and the other thing. And that's okay, because it's not about an external control of, oh, here's what I'm supposed to eat. Here's how much and what type of exercise I'm supposed to do. Here's what I should do for conversation. Here's how much meditation time I should have. It's not this external control that says, here are the elements, now put them in your life. Mm-hmm. That's not the way health shows up. We can do those things, but it's all from the internalization. So Nourish, as much as the others, it's super important that we put ourselves, our inner selves, in the center of our lives. And if we can connect with some notion of, well, who am I and who am I nourishing? Mm-hmm. What am I nourishing? Do I matter enough? Can I feel that I matter enough that I really want to take care of myself in the best way? So in some ways, it's like, oh, well, so I am my own child. Mm-hmm. And the child doesn't know what's good and not good for the child. The child just sees stuff and says, I want that, and I love this, and I love that, and I love the other thing, right? And the child doesn't know. But can I, as the adult, show up and say, okay, I'm going to do what feels really right at a deep, healthy level, not the convenient thing. So there's a documentary, I don't remember the name of it. It was a documentary on food, and this couple had a child that had autism and would only eat white food, junk food, nothing healthy, no vegetables, nothing. Mm-hmm. And what's brilliant about it is the couple were strong enough to stick with the program, and the child did not eat. They got rid of everything that was not okay, that was not real food, out of the house. And they were okay with the child screaming and yelling and having tantrums for 5 days, not eating anything for 5 days.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then the child came around and started eating what food was available, the good food. And that child went from being like totally out of control, couldn't look a person in the eye, even though the child was, I don't remember how old, 7, 8, 9, something like that, to like being far calmer, mm-hmm. eating this food, enjoying it, being able to be calm and present and have eye contact with people. Totally changed that little girl's life. Wow. And the family's life, because they were willing to do the detox mm-hmm. from all the junk.
Yeah. So a couple things in that I see is that, those parents were doing it for their child. They weren't doing it for an external validation thing. And so that, I feel like, is the core of what was able to keep them through. As a parent, like, I'm looking at this through the lens of a parent, the fact that they were able to do it from a place where they knew that this was going to nourish their child in the long run. And within that unit, they knew that to be true. Then they were able to come out the other side. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's a really great story and something that I feel like, would probably trigger a lot of people. But it's the fact that you're doing what you know is best for you and you will go through the trials to get to the other side.
Right. So staying clear on the goals is really important. Yeah. And so in the health blueprint model, it's not that I've created anything new. Yeah. It's not that I've, come up with any genius solution for any problems. But what it does do is it looks at your blueprint as the software that runs us, runs you. My blueprint runs me. My blueprint runs me through my body, which is my computer, if you will. And unlike a regular computer, that just the screen changes when you change the input on the keys, the physical human body changes in response to the blueprint, but also the physical human body changes the blueprint itself. So they're interactive. So then there's the software and the hardware, but then how do we change the blueprint? We change the blueprint by how we condition it and how we nourish it. What inputs we add, perhaps, or modify, and what we take away. So although I didn't mention this in the conditioning interview we did, or in the part of the new seminar is going to be talking about deconditioning. Deconditioning is every bit as important as conditioning for our blueprint. Right? So if I have people that come in to my office regularly and they want to be out of pain. Well, pain is the only thing they're ever thinking about. Pain or no pain, pain or no pain, pain or no pain. Well, that's a really low bar. And we're never going to get to health if pain is our metric. Because to get healthier and fitter and make changes, we're going to go through discomfort and pain. It's just part and parcel to it.
Yeah, there's something that you've said that has actually really resonated deeply and I've taken to heart, is that there's no such thing as a pain-free life.
No such thing.
No such thing. Which kind of loops back to the whole thing of a culture that is all about numbing or keeping things down because we don't want to feel that. But feeling that is part of the other side of the coin of joy. All the other things that we're really looking for. You can't have it without the pain and the discomfort.
Exactly. So how can we use pain and discomfort? How can we embrace it positively and learn from it? And what's fascinating in my experience, the more I lean into certain types of pain, the less painful they are. Those things can be.
Alchemist 101.
Right,
Alchemy 101.
Exactly. It just changes and morphs everything because it's all an internal game that way. So nourishment is there's a lot to it, and every way we nourish involves other ways. It's and all of this is just language to try to create understanding. So it's blurry at best. However, what your health blueprint does is it creates an overall understanding of health and well-being and the many aspects that are involved, but not as ingredients for a recipe, but as things that are within the healthy item already. And we're just like, oh wait, a healthy chicken soup has, oh wait, there's onions in here and there's this and that and the other thing. That's what's inherent in it. So what's inherent in me, and how can I pull in what's inherent in me that I desire, that I want, that I need for my health, and how can I pull that into my life, even though it's uncomfortable pulling in, because a lot of times the nourishment, if I walked around and gave people nourishment like, wow, you are really beautiful, or wow, you are amazing, or wow, anything, people would say, oh no, it's just, oh thank you, but no. I mean, they would push it away.
It's a recoil.
It's a recoil, right? Because we're I don't know, programmed, if you will, to not allow that in. Oh, I can't. No, I'm not. Or we're so busy internally, we're so busy looking at all the reasons why that's not true. So we're denying.
Ding, ding, ding. Right here.
So nourishment is like, oh, well, I can put the best things right here on a plate, but if a person's not willing to eat it, they're not going to get the nourishment.
You can't bring a horse to water and make it drink.
You can't make the horse drink.
Damn.
Exactly.
Well, I think that puts a really nice bow on top of what nourishment is. And we had a lot of really awesome themes in our conversation today. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. And so the next blueprint here is going to take place on April 29th. If you decide to join us, you get to see this beautiful mural in person because it's going to take place at Dirk's house. And yeah, if you want to learn more details, we'll have the information in the slide following this. But did you want to close out with anything?
Take care of yourself. And by that, I mean, see if you can step out of the trance of normalcy. See if you can step out of your normal, active, busy, and nourish yourself with a nice, deep belly breath. Letting it come in, letting everything relax, letting your legs relax, your pelvic floor relax, your belly relax, your chest, everything. And just allow life to come in without any struggle. And find something delightful that you can do today, whether it's 2 minutes or 102 minutes, and just give yourself space to just take it in.
Thank you for that. Awesome. Until next time, everyone, thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you so much for watching us today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to be notified when we release more discussions and related topics around your blueprint. To learn more, you can follow us on our Instagram, Facebook, and Spotify accounts under Inner Guide Wellness. To dive in even deeper into understanding your inner blueprint, you can register for our upcoming Your Health Blueprint seminars by calling the number on the screen. Dates and details can be found in the caption below. If any of this resonated with you, or if you have topics you'd love to hear us cover, please comment below. And don't forget to share this out to your friends and loved ones through your Instagram stories or on your Facebook page to help us spread the word far and wide. Thank you again, and until next time.